Stories centered around natural disasters aren't anything new. So is there any reason to check out Netflix's new limited series, La Palma? Norwegian tourists find themselves caught in a massive volcanic eruption on the picturesque Canary Islands. Facing toxic ash, lava, and chaos, they must fight for survival as they race to safety. So this is a short 4-episode limited series that follows a few scientists who discover a volcanic eruption is brewing under a large chunk of an island. And also, they follow a vacationing family who's attempting to relax and renew their relationship over a holiday break. Now, because this is only 4 episodes, the storytelling doesn't get bogged down in side characters or irrelevant storylines. Instead, it focuses intently on the arc with the scientists and their internal workings, and then the interactions and emotional strife that's occurring within the vacationing family. And because of this brevity and lack of distractions, we do get decent time with each part of the storytelling. The devoted time and development isn't distributed equally, but there is enough provided to keep the central characters from being utter strangers. Now, from the family perspective, this is where a lot of the drama is introduced into the plot. The parents are working through some things, not certain if their relationship is going to last. And the kids, one a teenager and another a younger kid on the spectrum. Now, the parents' strife, it's clearly evident almost from the start, informing us early on that just because they're visiting paradise, not everything on the inside is thriving or beautiful. And the dynamic the parents have, it bleeds over to the kids in engaging ways, but not to the degree that all of the interactions and conversations are riveting. I like a couple of the conversations that we watch take place because it helps to humanize both parents, where before these discussions, they can be seen as selfish or off-putting. Now, when the story drills down on the scientists, the drama and the urgency, they're good, but the impetus behind their stress, it's sort of rushed into the narrative. On one hand, I appreciate the efficiency. We don't need long history on what the island or volcano have undergone in the past. It's given to us through natural discourse, and it doesn't take a ton of time to convey. But on the other hand, it feels as if we've joined a program already in progress, that we're now playing catch-up within this story. And some of that's, it's just unavoidable. We're meeting these scientists in the middle of their project. The story picks up when the family arrives on the island. But the thing that continued to niggle my brain is how the situation and introductions to the scientists, they're just extremely rushed. And while that may not seem wholly important, there are times later on in the series when we're asked to have an emotional reaction to events. And because the characters haven't been presented to us in a way that we feel connected to them, it's difficult to experience the reaction that the story wants us to. And when I'm talking about this part of it, I'm really talking about the scientists. We're given time with the family to form connections. And because this series doesn't waste time getting to the heart of the matter, the tension builds very quickly, and it maintains a good level of stress throughout pretty much the entirety of the episodes. There are exciting and dangerous moments. Plus, we are treated to spectacular views of nature, both from the air, under a mountain, and within the ocean. The cinematography during these times, it's awesome, placing us right into the environments so we can almost tangibly feel what's around. There are a few sequences that involve giant sea turtles, and it is a peaceful and majestic view, just making me jealous of the camera operator who got to swim through all of that beauty. And the inclusion of these scenes, it's not just for visual awe. It actually reinforces the plot and creates a larger emotional draw to what's occurring. There are also some daunting and terrifying scenes that show the magnificence of a mountain range, with black lava covering a large portion, just making the ultra-green foliage pop almost unnaturally. And because this story does revolve around a volcanic eruption, when we see the lava, it's breathtaking and terrific. The vibrancy of the colors pops off the screen. And the way the air bends through the heat makes me wonder how they accomplish the scenes. It looks as if they placed actors, or probably stunt people, near an active volcanic eruption and then captured some footage. If the production utilized CGI or some other special effect for these scenes, they need to be commended for the ultra-realism that's created. This realism, it also allows for the island to then become a powerful character within the story, becoming an undefeatable antagonist who dispassionately obliterates anything in its path without judgment or bias. It's like the best and worst kind of villain. And for the story, it's an effective one. Now, despite the awesome visuals and environment, and even the emotional development of the vacationing family, there's a segment towards the finale that asks the audience to suspend every bit of disbelief by introducing incredible plot protection. As much as I enjoy happy endings, I was also appreciating the lack of character armor that was present. mean, this was a large-scale, devastating natural disaster. Lives are going to be lost, and they were. But the story also decides to make some very predictable and safe decisions, losing the credibility of the story and then the impending peril in favor of just making people feel better. I don't think the scenarios that we get in the climax are believable, let alone plausible. But that's what we get. I mean, I just didn't buy it, and it hampered a bit of the horror that was promised. Now, the tension and anxiety, they're still at a high throughout the finale, but we're presented with a conclusion that leans more towards happy than probable. The story also does a decent job of introducing some moral dilemmas for characters, requiring them to make choices that could go against their best interests. And I like how this works to demonstrate growth within the characters, showing that perhaps the opinion of them when we meet them is not the same as when we leave them. And ideally, it's been changed for the better. Because of the extreme situations, we're also confronted with tough decisions regarding safety and self-preservation. Story doesn't dwell on this, only briefly holding up the mirror to the audience to just give us a gut check moment on how we'd react. But I appreciate that this is even a consideration, watching characters act out of survival and then having to reconcile those decisions once things have calmed down a bit. I mean, this isn't a theme that's belabored or even harped on. It just comes about naturally within the plot, and it's resolved in a way that's not contrived, but instead, it's believable. So overall, La Palma provides a quick and suspense-filled disaster story, focusing on what a family will do to survive and how those in the background work to stave off of a disaster before it begins. The character development is uneven, the connection to certain characters isn't established, and there is some unbelievable plot conveniences. But the stunning visuals, palpable moral dilemmas, and family dynamics work to offset the shortcomings, so this isn't a full-on storytelling disaster. With urgent anxiety and a fast pace, the series provides a lot of excitement. It's just not wholly memorable. There's no sex or nudity, a lot of profanity, and some violence. I give La Palma 3 out of 5 couches. So what are you binging right now? Anything that you can recommend? I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.